Good afternoon and welcome to the DOEA Spring Semester Reporting webinar. Today, we will be going over the spring semester reporting process and providing an overview of the form on the Evaluation Technical Assistance Center, or ETAC, portal. I am Sean Grobe, the program manager for ETAC, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sarah Brightwell, who is the deputy program manager. We are excited to be here to demonstrate the reporting system. Before we get started, I would like to introduce, I would like to introduce Christy Pitts from the DOEA Program Office to say hello from their side.
Yeah, hi. Thanks, Sean. JDP is trying to join. Zoom is not being cooperative right now. So she will be on here shortly. But thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your afternoon, or some of you may still be in your morning hours, to join us for this webinar today. Please note as we go through things today, any questions that you may have, and we'll be able to address those as the webinar goes forward. Thank you, Sean.
All right. And it looks like JDP made it in. JDP, I don't know if you would like to also say hello.
Hello, everyone. No, Christy said everything for me. So thanks everyone so much for taking out the time to join us today for this spring reporting webinar.
All right. And now Sarah will take us through the agenda.
All right, well, welcome to spring reporting. Some of you may have already been in the system looking at a few things. If you are the person for your grant who completed your fall semester reporting, you're going to find this to be basically the same process. But in particular, today, I'll highlight a few updates that we've made to the form, primarily in response to feedback from all of you. As we traveled around to the regional COPs and then talked to many of you through coaching sessions or the help desk, we got lots of good feedback on the reporting form. And so we did make a few tweaks and adjustments in response to that. But please know we are continuing to do that. So as you go through this reporting season, if you see other things where you're like, really wish it would do this, or it had this feature, or it worked like that, always let us know. We are very open to that feedback. It is still the first year of this new reporting system. We're only about 6 months into the new reporting system and still fine-tuning and making sure it best meets the needs of all of you. Then we'll go step by step through that reporting system. So even if you did not do the fall semester report and you are new to DOEA reporting, that's okay. We will make sure that you know exactly how to complete that. And then we'll also wrap with some additional reminders and resources so that you know exactly how you can reach out for assistance as you go through the reporting journey up to submission. The most important thing to start with is, where in the world do I do my reporting? Which is right in the DOEA ETAC system. So if you go to dodeagrants.org, hopefully all of you already have accounts for that. You'll be able to log in and do your reporting there. If you or someone on your team still needs an account for that, no problem. You can go to the website and request an account, and we turn those around at minimum within 24 hours, but typically much more quickly. If you are getting access for yourself or someone within your team, be thinking about what level of access is appropriate. So there is one person per grant that is listed as the project director, and you have what I like to call the ultimate power. You can do everything in the system. You get to see everything, you get to edit everything, you get to submit everything. If there's something to be done in the system, you have access to it. But we want other members of your team to also have access to the site and be able to collaborate with you and work on these things. So you can also designate your financial contact who can see everything, but can also edit and submit financial forms. While there is not a required financial form for your spring semester report, you may still have financial forms that you need to submit. Maybe you're doing some type of budget change over the summer as you're reviewing at the end of the year. You also have one person you can designate as your evaluator. This person is going to be able to view all of the reporting, so they can see in real time any edits that you're making as you work on the report. They just aren't able to make any edits or submit. And then finally, your additional team members. So you have other team members that you can add. They can see everything. They just can't edit or submit. So this is a great way to be able to add those other members, maybe of your leadership or instructional team that you want to help you with the report, but you just won't be able to have them actually type into it. However, they can see it. We also provide a collaboration guide that you can use. That's a separate actual Word document where you can work together collaboratively there. So you have a couple different ways you can do that. Where are we in your reporting cycle? So you did your fall semester report in January, or someone did, and then now you're reporting on spring. So your spring semester, technically as far as reporting, starts January 1 and goes through till June 30. If you are not doing any activities in June, it is perfectly fine to go ahead and submit now. If you are running some type of summer program, or if you are in a part of the country where school extends through the end of June or mid-June, then you're going to want to make sure and capture the activities that occur during that time period. This report is not due until July 31st. So you have time. Now, of course, I know you want to be able to complete it, submit it, move on and have a little summer fun. We want that for you as well. But just know if you are running those programs that go up through the end of June, completely fine. We can do that. And you can report that up through the end of July, having plenty of time to complete. And then the next report that you'll be completing is that annual report, which will encompass your full year. You'll be looking back reflectively. That report is not currently available in the system. That will open on August 1st and close October 31st. So you don't have to worry about that right now, but just if you're kind of thinking, where in the grand scheme of things am I? You're in that spring report. The next step will be your annual. You'll notice as we move through the reporting form that the focus for the semester level reporting are activities, challenges, and professional learning. That's really what you're going to include within this report, but you do have the option to include optional documents. So you can include pictures, videos, maybe you were featured in the newspaper or in a local PowerPoint to the board. Maybe you have a cool piece that was put together by your evaluator and you want to share that. You can include any of those things within your semester report that help tell the story of what went on in your program this semester. But as far as what's in the actual reporting form, it's going to be primarily those activities, challenges, and professional learning. You'll start getting into your strategies and outcomes and such when we move into the annual reporting. Now, before we really get into the pieces and parts, I want to talk about just a few reporting tips. One is to start early. Even if you still have program ongoing, you can start filling out that form. It's not like you have to sit and complete it in one sitting and submit. You can be working on bits and pieces of it, save it, and then come back to it later. Please write in complete sentences. When you write in complete sentences, it tends to be complete thoughts and it tends to make more sense to all of us who are reading your report. Same thing for acronyms. We know some acronyms. We know we don't know all the acronyms. And sometimes what an acronym means to you within your school district or your context is not what it means to me in my experience. So always spell those out to make sure that we're all on the same wavelength as far as what you are sharing. The other great thing is we have a basic editor within the reporting form, but I always like, particularly for the more narrative responses, to actually write them in my Word, then copy and paste it back into the form. That way I can run spell check, grammar check, all of that. And then finally, think about, of course, JDP, Christy, Dr. Jen, they're all reading your report. But there are other people that read your report as well that may not be as familiar with your project as they are. So make sure that you're being transparent, that you're being clear, and taking into consideration. This is a general share. So we really want to make sure that even if you're like, well, I already told Christy about that when we did our monitoring call a few months ago. That doesn't matter. Include it in your report because it's going to be more than just Christy, who might be doing your monitoring, reading your report. And then final tip, don't wait to submit on the last day. First of all, the last day is a Saturday. If you need help on a Saturday, the help desk isn't open. So that's going to be a real pickle. And it doesn't change the due date just because it's on a Saturday. So make sure and submit before the last minute, because when it's 11:58 on Saturday night, we don't have a lot of help at the ready for you as far as your submissions. If you're doing it on Thursday at noon, you have all resources available to help you make sure you can submit successfully. So we do not take a summer break here at the ETAC. So we are here with you all throughout the summer. Whatever your work schedule may be, we're probably here too. Just call in, write in. We'll go over at the end all the different ways that you can reach out to us, but just don't wait until Saturday at 11:58 p.m. All right, next up, we're going to jump into the form, but I want you to kind of set your mind around what we're going to put into this form. So as a reminder, you already reported on August 1st to December 31st in your fall semester. If you're a year one grantee, then you actually were reporting on September 30 to December 31. So with this report, you're going to report on January 1 to June 30. That's what's considered your spring semester, even if your school year semester may be slightly different. That's your window. This report is then due July 31st. The question always comes up, well, what about July? If you're running a full summer of activities, where do I report that July piece? That will actually get reported in your annual report. So it's not that you can't include information about July, but you're just not going to put the July info in this report. You're going to put that in your annual report. All right, before we jump into the actual system, because I'm going to switch our screens, do we have any questions thus far? All right, I don't see any questions in the chat. All right, so as we move, just a reminder that as we go, if you have questions, you don't have to wait. You can pop them in the chat. You can unmute and ask. We're a small group. This is meant to be helpful for you. So definitely do whatever you need to get your questions answered. Now let's switch over and look at the actual system. You're welcome to, particularly if you are in a multiple monitor situation, if you want to open up your reporting form and follow along, you are absolutely welcome to do so. All right, and then just double checking, because sometimes it's a little finicky when I switch over. Are y'all able to see the reporting form now? Anybody? All right, got a thumbs up. All right.
It's the reporting dashboard that we see, Sarah.
Perfect. All right. So this is what it's going to look like when you enter into the reporting area of the website. I'm logged in as Mr. Fake Project Director. So you'll see all the different options. You're going to click here on Semester Reports Open. And then it'll bring up any active grants that you are connected with. So depending upon your district, you may have one grant there, you may have multiple. I have multiple because Mr. Fake Project Director really does a lot. But you hit view next to the one you would like to work on. And then you'll see any previously submitted reports here. But you want to start a new report for the spring semester. So in the top right corner, you're going to see new report. And then you'll select the reporting period of spring 2026. When you hit create report, that's what opens up the actual full form. Okay. All the pages are set up basically the same. So for any of you that might not have been part of the reporting before, as you come into any of the pages, your basic directions are going to be at the top, along with a little bar. The bar is a great way to just make sure, particularly if you work with multiple grants or multiple grantees, that you're in the right one. And then make sure and read all the directions for each section so you can ensure you're completing everything. On this first page, we also go over the basic navigation. You can navigate page to page in your report through this left-hand menu bar or through the bottom right-hand next buttons. Do not use your browser back and forward buttons because those could potentially cause you to lose data that you've entered. So you want to make sure you're always using that left-hand navigation menu or the bottom next button on the right. The first page has a few things for you to do, but honestly, not a lot of things for you to do. The big thing is just check and make sure all of your information appears correct. If you've had a change in your 3 primary contacts, your project director, financial staff, or evaluator, and what you see no longer appears correct, you can hit edit contacts and it will take you into the page to be able to make those changes. If anything else within this section appears incorrect, you will need to reach out to the help desk for those changes because you cannot make them yourself here. And then the piece that you actually have to complete is your goal status. So depending upon how many goals you have, you'll see anywhere from 1 to 3 goals listed here. You're going to select this goal status box and you're going to pick one of the 3 status options. So this is the first change that I want to highlight for any of you who did do the fall semester reporting. And now what's different in the spring semester is that we did fine tune and hone down these goal status options. Some of the feedback was that there were more than potentially we needed, or it was a little hard for people to discern exactly which option to select. So we've now moved to not started yet. This could potentially be if you're in your planning year that you haven't started work on that particular goal, or you have a goal that comes in maybe in year 3, and then partially met, so it's in progress, or fully met. So you'll select whichever one. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to pick different options. Then I'm going to come down and hit next because that's all I have to do on the front page. When I go to the next page, you'll see that I have semester activities. Okay, so the first thing is not so much a change, but it just wasn't something that you could use in the fall semester report because you hadn't done any reporting in this system yet. So you're going to be picking the 3 most impactful activities from this reporting period. This is where you really have to think about what are the 3 that were the most impactful and representative of our program this semester. You can do one of 2 things. You can add a new activity, or if there is an activity that you submitted in the fall that is still one of your 3 most impactful, you can roll over and update. So in our demo grantee, there's extra data, but I'm going to go ahead and pick, okay, this one. This one I did in fall 2025. It's still one of my most impactful activities. So I would like to clone it. Now you can view it if you need to look at the details more closely, but I'm going to go ahead and clone it. It's going to ask you, are you sure? It's going to show you all the data. Are you sure you want to clone this one? Yes, I do. And then I'm going to change the name back to what I want it to be. If you need to make any edit to the description, likely you may not because it's still the same activity. Likely your goal is not going to change. That's why all of these things are pre-selected Remember that your strategies are going to complete in your annual report, so you're able to leave that be. If your population's reach changed at all, any of this can be updated. You do need to update your estimated number reached. So let's say now it's up to 90. And the status. So is this still partially implemented or fully implemented? Again, this is a change from the fall to the spring. So when you were adding activities in the fall, you would have seen a slightly longer list of status options. Now you're just going to state whether this is partially implemented or fully implemented as an activity. And then save it. And you'll see back in my original chart, now in my current, it's listed here. Now, if you have another activity, wasn't something you reported for, often the case, you're going to use this top right-hand button to hit Add New Activity. You're going to come in here and you'll actually complete all of these things. Seems to be a rule that if people are watching, you can no longer type. Select your poll. It's for my military connected families and my students. Matched 45. And using fully implemented this one. Remember, you can always highlight successes down at the bottom. That is optional. And then save your activity. And then just like you saw with the other, now my new activity is in here. You can do that again up to 3 activities. And I'll show you this time I'll go quite basic for time's sake. Now you'll notice that Add New Activity button is no longer present because I can only add 3 activities. So now that I'm at 3 activities, it's not going to let me do anymore. If maybe you start adding data now, and then as you're meeting with your team, you think, oh, actually, I don't think I want to do activity 32. There's this other activity that I want to include. You can always just delete it and then add in that other activity. So nothing's set in stone until you submit. The other piece on this page to not forget is that there are 2 narrative questions at the bottom. One is asking for a 1-sentence greatest project success. It can be a long sentence. It can involve punctuation and conjunctions, but just 1 sentence really highlighting your greatest project success. And then an update on any planned changes to project activities for the next semester. So anything that you plan to change for the new school year. If you're like, I don't plan to change anything, we're going to continue, it's working great. You can always put not applicable, but it is a required question so that we know, okay, not applicable, moving on, versus I just forgot to complete it. So know that any of the questions that are not applicable but are required, just type in the NA and that's fine. So I have to hit save. It's going to remind me I didn't do my 1 sentence. But if I hit save and it works, I'm all clear. Save successfully. And then I'll hit next and go to my next thing. So the next piece here are my challenges. Again, you can report up to 3 challenges. Maybe you have 1 challenge. Maybe you have 3. Maybe you have none. All of that is acceptable, but let's look at how you can actually do that. So you'll find if you reported a challenge in the fall and you put that it was an ongoing challenge, it will be pre-filled here because we want an update on if that challenge was continuing on into the spring semester. How is it going now? Were you able to resolve it, or does it continue to be a challenge? Otherwise, it will be blank like this, and you will be adding new challenges with that top right button. You'll select whatever goal it applies to, provide a brief description. And while it is a brief description, we do still want you to put enough information there that we can fully understand what challenge are you encountering. If it just says staffing, that's not really telling me much. That's why it's a brief description, not a one-word answer. Because is it that your staff needs more training? Is it your staff is leaving? Is it that your staff is out on leave and you couldn't find a sub? What's going on in the world of staffing? So give us a little bit more robust description there so we can better understand what's going on as your challenge. Then you'll select whatever your challenge category might be. So since I used my staffing example, you can select all that apply. So if it's staffing and budget, because maybe you don't have the budget for the staffing that you need, you can always put multiple. And then your response strategy. So this could be how you solved it, if it's a challenge that occurred and then you were able to fix that by the end of the semester. Or what are you currently trying in order to resolve it, whether that's working right now or not. Just clue us in on what's going on with that. So you'll put that there. And then the last question, has this challenge been resolved? It's either ongoing, so it's something that you haven't quite resolved, hopefully next semester, or has been resolved. So you select whichever one. I'm going to keep it as ongoing. And then you'll see it pops up here. Again, you can put up to 3. But what if you say, I didn't really have any challenges this semester. Knock on wood, everything was amazing. And just no hiccups or hurdles. Great for you, happy for you. You don't have to put something here. But one thing we noticed in the fall semester report is it was sometimes challenging to know, did it get left blank because there were no challenges, or did it get left blank because it was a new reporting form and maybe we forgot to complete it? So there is now the option that you can hit here, nothing to report. And that way we know the reason you didn't enter any challenges up here is because you didn't have any to share with us. Okay, so those are the 2 different ways you can go about that. And then move on to the next. Now, professional learning. Again, great directions up here to read through before completing this page. But the key is also the 3 most impactful. So you see that theme all throughout. Really honing in on the most impactful things from this semester. Just like with the others, you might have had 3 amazing professional learnings, or it may have been that you just had 1, or maybe you had a lot in the fall, but you didn't happen to have any in the spring. All of these things are possibilities and okay to report. This is going to work very similarly to how we did the activities. So you'll have the option in the top right corner to add a brand new professional learning activity, or you can go down and roll over one that you submitted in the fall. So maybe you're running a full year mentoring program and it was going great and was one of your most impactful things in the fall, and it continues to be one of your most impactful things in the spring. Wonderful. Then select that mentoring activity from here and roll it up. And it works exactly the same. I would say, okay, this XYZ conference, probably not something that would be rolled over, but for our practice, it'll show you all the details. We copy the record. It brings it over. Just check all of this and make sure, is it how you want it? Were there any maybe tweaks that you need to do? Maybe yes, it's still the same mentoring program, but you made some adjustments based on feedback from the mentors and mentees over the holiday break. And so in the spring, you did it a little bit different, so you want to change up your description just a little, totally fine. Make sure your name is the way you would like it, your categories, and then update the number of people participating. So maybe you had 30 folks, 15 mentors, 15 mentees, but you lost one duo. So now you're down to 28. And you can see just double checking your frequency and format and who's delivering. This spot, is there any other information to share about how the professional learning was delivered? And how has or will professional learning impact the program? Those are two that often may get tweaked semester to semester, even when you're cloning an activity. So pay careful attention to those. And then even the monitoring. So then you'll save once everything looks the way you would like. And you'll see now it is in my current table. And of course, you can always go back in and edit or delete as needed. If you're adding in a brand new professional learning, we'll be able to go in. It's the exact same questions, just from scratch. So you'll complete all of those things. And just know it is, so you'll see, I didn't finish everything. So it will stop me and be like, look, you have to actually answer all the questions. So that's built into all the pieces of the form. So if that's everything that we did this semester, then I would just stop there. So whatever number matches what actually happened in your program this semester, that's okay, up to 3. And it'll do the same thing where if you get up to 3, that add new professional learning button will disappear. Then you can scroll down and we've got that same option. If alternatively, you're like, we didn't happen to do any professional learning this spring, we did in the fall, or we're going to next year, but we just didn't happen to do any this spring, you can select that nothing to report. And that will let us know, I just didn't have any this semester. It wasn't an accident, leaving it blank. There are 2 narrative questions at the bottom. One, any challenges that were specific to professional learning. This could potentially touch upon one of the challenges that you entered in the challenge section, but just really letting us know it specifically in regards to professional learning, was there anything challenging there? And then any additional professional learning successes. So was there something that was particularly successful that you want to highlight? So you can include all of that. Again, remember, you can always put not applicable. If something is not, hit save. You'll get the green box, which always means things are saved, and you can go to the next. At this point, you've really completed all the data entry into the system. That's it. Activities, challenges, professional learning. What you're going to do now is optionally upload some documents. You do not have to upload anything at all if you choose not to. It is completely fine. It is also completely fine if you want to upload some documents. So like I said, this could be photos, this could be articles, this could be links to things, whatever that might be. When you're going to do that, you're going to hit add document, choose file, and I can include whatever it is, give it a title. The title is super helpful, and it's super helpful if it has the grantee name and then the document, I'm going to say document descriptive name, because these then get exported. And if it doesn't have your grantee name or it's not clear what it is, it's really hard to know what things go with what and what you're opening. So give it a really good title. Hit save, and you'll be able to see it right here. If maybe you uploaded something and you change your mind or you change the document and you want to upload a fresh version, you can delete any of them up through submission. You can upload as many documents as you would like. If you want to share a link, there's not a way to just share the link within the system. Just put the link into a Word document or a PDF document and then upload that into the system. And that's how you can share links to things. Once you've uploaded anything that you would like to, you can hit next. And you have now completed your report and are ready to submit. My suggestion at this point is to then completely exit the reporting system, come back in, and go page by page through the report to make sure that everything is in there the way that you think it's in there and the way that you want it to be in there. That I feel is really helpful in just making sure that what you submit is what you think you're submitting. If everything looks good, you're ready to submit, you can just hit Submit Report. It will think it over, and then it'll tell you your report has successfully been marked as submitted. You can also double check this here by hitting Show under Submission History, and you can see at 1:37 Eastern, I submitted my report. The other way you can check this is to go back into reports, go back into semester reports, and into whichever grantee. And notice now in my semester report list, I see my spring 2026 report, and it's listed as submitted at 1:37. So again, this is just what I like to do, maybe out of light reporting paranoia, to make sure that my report was successfully submitted before I move on. Now, you can always go back in and view your report and also print it for your own records. The last thing I want to show you on that, though, is on the submission page. If you're like, oh, I submitted, but I forgot to upload this, or I forgot to add this, or I need to change this, then you need to contact the help desk. You'll notice there's no unsubmit button. This is how the page looks when you come into it. There's nothing here for you to be able to do a take back. You have to reach out to us. We can reopen your report as long as it's prior to the deadline. And then you can make whatever adjustments you need, additions, subtractions, that's fine, and then resubmit. But you will have to reach out to the help desk so we can open it back up for you. And then I see Adam has a question. Just to confirm, we should exit out of ETAC website completely and then re-enter before submitting. You don't have to. That's something I like to do just to verify that my report is showing what I want it to show before I hit that submit button. So you absolutely don't have to do that. It's not like that's a functionality piece. That's just a double check that I like to do to verify my report and kind of double check it before hitting that submit button. But once you've hit the submit button, it shows as submitted, you are all set and you have met your requirement for your spring semester reporting. And you have no more reporting to do until annual report time. Before we jump from here back into the PowerPoint, any questions about the system, reporting, anything you want to look back at? All right. Again, the two main changes that you're going to see from the fall semester report to the spring is just a honed down list of status options throughout and the addition of the nothing to report button in each of the sections. Other than that, it's primarily the same formatting and the same things that are being asked for. All right, I'm going to flip us back now. And we'll wrap with just a few reminders and resources and any other questions that might pop up for you before we go. So I just want to pop up our tip screen one last time. In particular, remembering to start early, really write everything out in complete sentences, use that spell and grammar check in Word, and then copy and paste it back in, writing out those acronyms, and keeping in mind that you never know who's going to be reading your report, and you want to make sure they understand the fabulous things you're doing instead of assuming. So as we're thinking about it, a few common questions that come up, and we'll see. You can enter your responses in the chat. Since the deadline's on a Saturday is not a work day, can I submit the report on a Monday? Correct. Nope, you sure cannot. So the deadline does not change no matter what day of the week it is on. The deadline is the deadline. It has to be in by 11:59 Eastern on July 31st. That's the other key part that throws some people off. Okay, so if you are turning it in and you turn it in at 11:58 Pacific, it's still going to be late because the time zone is Eastern. Oh, I love JDP's response. Oh, you can turn it in after that, but you will be out of compliance. And none of you are going to be out of compliance because in case you didn't know, and I know I've kind of been harping on this as I've gone COP to COP, we had 100% of grantees make the reporting deadline for fall. And so I expect that we will do the exact same for spring. Won't we? All right. Who should submit the report? Who can submit the report? We'll see. These are all A+ students, the project director. So only the project director has access in the system to be able to submit. All right, last fast finger question. Is there a financial report due alongside this spring semester report? Like, I don't even want to think about financial reporting. All right, no. So no, there is not a financial report that is associated with the spring semester report. You have your quarterly invoicing that's due by the end of June. That's in the WAF system. And then you have your annual SF425 that'll be due along with your annual report, but that's not due until October. Right now, with your spring semester report, there's not a financial report associated with it. So make sure and do your invoicing by the end of the month in WAF. And then we'll circle back to SF425s in a few months. But with your spring semester report, it's solely a programmatic report. All right. While it seems like all of you have this reporting down pat, if you have questions, if you get stuck, if you just want to talk through how to report certain things about your program, we're here for all of that. You can reach out to the ETech team, either at support@dodeagrants.org or at our 800 number. Those are manned 9 to 3 Eastern. You'll often get responses outside of that because we have team members in different time zones, but that's our technical hours of operation. You can reach out to your DOEA program team at dodea.grants@dodea.edu. Of course, they're always around for you. We also have lots of resources on the ETech site. After this event, all of you who are in attendance will receive the recording. You'll receive the reporting guide, the little written reporting guide, and the collaboration template, but that'll also all be available on the website. So if you have any friends and other grantees who are like, oh, but I couldn't make it live, it'll all be up on the website there. You have your region leads who are always happy to assist. And then we also have 2 reporting hours coming up this summer. So we have one each month. We have one June 17th at 1 Eastern and one July 22nd at noon East or 1 Eastern. If you have never been to a reporting office hours before, it's very casual. It's just like it sounds as far as office hours, that we keep the doors open for an hour. You can come straight at 1. You can come at 1:30. You can come at 1:55. I will not leave, even if no one's there. We hang out the full hour for any questions that you might have. And it's an informal environment. So you can stop by, ask any questions that you might have, as well as we always will typically have a few people who hop on just to kind of take in other people's questions and see if there's anything that's illuminating for them. So it is open to everyone. Any member of your team is available to join. Stop by, ask any questions, get any help you might need. Those are the 2 dates. But outside of that, remember, the ETAC is around all day, every day, so you don't have to wait for an office hours to get assistance. That wraps our quick walk through the reporting system. I am happy to stay on with any questions that you might have, but otherwise, finish out those reports, get them turned in so you can enjoy your summer. And then we'll see you soon on other webinars, maybe the annual reporting one.
Thanks everybody for attending.
Yeah.